So now, a key component of ensuring that tech skills are acquired will be the level of internet penetration. What level are we, and what is the government even doing to make broadband internet much more accessible to Nigerians, especially those interested in ICT?
Government is working with relevant stakeholders, both within and outside government, to ensure that this is key things that we're looking at is using this as an opportunity, as a springboard to increase the device penetration. When I'm talking of device, I'm talking of both PC penetration, tab penetration, and mobile penetration, and also to improve access to broadband. So we're a country that are doing a lot in the penetration within the country. So we're working with relevant and important people that have been successful in this regard to ensure that each of the each participant in the volunteer corps has a device. Each of those devices are connected, so this increases the hardware, the device, and the broadband penetration within the country, because then you have 500,000 people who now have connection. That aside, on the policy side, we're working with NITDA, the National Information Technology Development Agency, and with the Ministry of Communications, of course, to improve and increase the broadband penetration within the country. One of the things we're looking at is using government policies to drive some of these changes, because what you realize is the private sector responds to government policy.
All right, now, Ikem, you earlier made mention of the NPower program, which will get people employed for 2 years. But I'm just wondering, what will happen when the time elapses, especially for those that will be selected in the teaching category of the program?
So what's going to happen after 2 years is that, for instance, I can tell you that in our strategy, we are going to now have a logical formation of cooperatives. So these are cooperatives that are not bound by politics, that says when government wants to give subsidized fertilizer to farmers, people bunch themselves or put themselves onto a list, and the subsidies are unevenly distributed or something. This is to say, hello? So this is to say that for everyone who has land in this area, we can come together, form a cooperative, and we're able to negotiate our inputs in bulk. So you would have some of these extension advisors who we are hiring and paying now, who would naturally graduate to that economic function.
All right, now, Afolabi, most of what we have heard today is the plan for graduates. What plans have been laid for those in the informal sector and even those in school? Because there is a possibility of old people still in school and trying to make ends meet at the same time.
The program is not just only for graduates. So we've got two clear tracks. The graduate conversion, which is where you have the 500,000, that's where you have the various teacher corps paid volunteers that he came and taken the time to explain some minutes ago. And then you've got the non-graduate track, which is the where you have the creative. So a lot of the technological skills that Ife talked about earlier for 25,000, those are actually non-graduates. You don't have to be a graduate to apply for that, and you really can also still be a graduate to apply for that. But the minimum qualification is your post-secondary school, your secondary school education, and that's because a lot of people who have done great things, Steve Jobs and co, they're not university graduates or tertiary education graduates. So that's why that program. And then, of course, we then have the vocational skills, which would take people across the various trades from tiling, plumbing, block laying, hospitality, catering, and whatever. You've got the vocational skills, which amounts to about 75,000. Nigerians, and that's the NPower build.
Right, Beryl Mushokwe, let me come back to you. And on the issue of technology, again, we already have an existing structure on ground. But to what extent has the government supported these structures to go beyond where they are at the moment?
Okay, so interesting. So the demo day in Abuja is not only about the startups. So of course, there are different levels there are different stages of these startup companies. And so we're having about 30 startups, right, at the early stage in Abuja for the demo, and we have about 20 that are already at the other stages we're hoping to send invitation to the likes of the companies, the Intersway, Jobberman. There are different stages to show also to the president and the entire world that, these are the things that have been going on in Nigeria, So, like I also rightly said before, they are going to be exhibiting some of their ideas, and we expect that the people in the public sector, that the leaders in the public sector, local solutions and see which of them is good to adopt.
All right, guys, that will be all. Thanks for coming on the program. We have to leave the conversation here. But again, thanks for coming and sharing your perspective as well as your thoughts on what the government is doing in terms of creating jobs. We'll take a quick break, and when we return, we'll be joined by a public affairs analyst to get more analysis on this topic. Join us again. Welcome back. Now joining us to continue this discussion, we've been joined by a political scientist and a public affairs analyst, Mr. Bola Dale Adekoya. Thanks for coming on the program.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So how would you assess this government in terms of job creation? It's over a year since they took flight. What can you tell us?
Well, being very, I don't want to be economical with the truth. I think we should.
I don't expect you to be.
No. I think we should be very frank with ourselves at this stage. It is unfortunate that we find ourselves in this present predicament. Though the president has made, I think he made an innovation last month, and it was early this month. It was tagged Empower, sort of employment generation. I think this is the first ever since he came into government trying to create employment. Sincerely, I think that is a very pathetic policy. If you look at political economy, to a large extent, I don't expect the president to be looking at, creating such avenues, especially the one he created on the Empower that he created. If you're looking at most of the drawback of the Empower, talking about employing teachers, 500,000 teachers for just 2 years. See, in Nigeria we have a problem. We are always on the edge of finding the quick fix solutions to most of our issues.
But it's the Empower doesn't employ only teachers.
Yes, it doesn't employ only teachers. I'm coming to that. Okay. But for the first teachers for just 2 years, what happens after the 2 years? They have to leave. It doesn't create employment. Nigeria doesn't need. We are in the country that is talking about our workforce being so much, and we don't have the finance to take care of salaries and the rest. Why should government be adding 500,000 people that you have to pay salaries to for 2 years? And they're not even, you've not given them employment.
They didn't call it salaries. It's supposed to be like
a stipend.
A stipend, yeah.
Now what I'm saying is this: the billions that will be spent on paying 500,000 for teachers, how come such billions is not spent in funding innovations of individuals, just like we've done just like the last administration did with UWin? It's really important.
I think under the Empower as well, they have a demo day.
Yeah,
there is
the one for demo day. Okay. That has to go through you have to apply first, and they will now go through a training and the rest. But you see, and I think that will take like 50,000 or so people that they will fund. That is a good innovation. But the issue is this: how much are they going to fund? To what extent are they going to fund?
Well, they're taking 50 innovations.
They're taking 50 innovations.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at the UWin program. The UWin program, people get up to 10 million, 5 million for innovations. And these are innovations that over the years, they have a multiplying effect. So at the end of the day, you get to employ a lot of people. So what I'm saying is this. And
you think it's not applicable in this instance?
No, what I'm saying is this. First, there's no clear-cut operational procedure for this so-called Empower program. That is one. Secondly, the whole process of Empower on its own lacks political economic structure, because it doesn't make. I would have expected the government to continue what last administration did on UWin, because that gives it helps the economy more. It helps employment. That is really empowering the people.
If they do that, there will be a ripple effect.
Yeah,
on agriculture and technology. There will be a ripple effect. I believe that's the plan.
That is the plan, to have a ripple effect. But I will tell you, what Nigeria agricultural sector needs is not bringing people, training them, bringing some 100,000 people, training them. No. What we need is one of the legislative issue. I think it was a few weeks ago, the honorable member representing Remo Federal Constituency, Honorable Adebutu, I think he raised a bill on the Agricultural Land Development Authority bill. This automatically this will create a chain reaction. It will revolutionize the agriculture on its own, because that bill is to ensure that first, individuals, that you have a land, it becomes a commercial avenue for you. You have the electricity back in so you can, apart from investment or getting funds, grants from the government, you can also get foreign aids on it.
All right, just hold your thought for a minute. We'll take a quick break. I'll be back shortly. Well, we'll go on a quick break. I'll be back in a moment. Join us again.